Thank you for joining us for this week's Civil War Battles Remembered. This week we go back to the week of July 16th, 1864, and to the Battle of Shanton Hill. The days leading up to the Battle of Shanton Hill were bloody, grueling, and devastating for the Confederate soldiers nearby. To escape Union forces and the Georgia heat, the remaining Confederate troops withdrew into the shaded woods of Shanton Hill. This retreat led them to soon be quickly surrounded by the Union Army. The refuge soon became an imprisonment, as they were quickly cut off from supplies. In just a few short days, the Confederate soldiers found themselves in a desperate situation, without food or water. Dehydration and starvation soon set in. They were faced with the dilemma: stay in the protective woods of Shanton Hill, or come down from the hill to face Union forces and be slaughtered. Even though they were desperate for food and water, the Confederate soldiers were stubborn and determined to wait out the Union army until Confederate reinforcements could arrive from Atlanta. Going into their seventh agonizing night of starvation, the remaining Confederate commanding officers pleaded with the men to hold on for one more night. Surely more Confederate soldiers would be arriving to relieve them in the morning. However, a hysteria soon swept through the Confederate camp. The soldiers swore they could smell the pleasant aroma of sugar cookies being baked nearby. Had they overlooked a nearby farmhouse at the bottom of the hill during their rapid retreat up the hill? Hours went by. The mysterious source of the scent of the fresh-baked cookies was all around them, and it was all they could think about, and they became delirious. The soldiers began to form a plan to send out a search team to find the source of the baking cookies, and hopefully a farmhouse at the bottom of the hill with the much-needed supplies. The commanding Confederate officers ordered the men to stay put and assured them that their tired and hungry minds were playing tricks on them, and reinforcement soldiers would be there in the morning. The desperate soldiers would not listen, and what started out as a few men descending down the hill soon turned into a mad dash, as every Confederate soldier held up on Shanton Hill was soon running down the hill. The commanding forces still pleaded with the men to stop, but they would not listen. At the bottom of the hill, the Confederacy did not find a warm and inviting farmhouse, but instead a single small flickering candle. The men were confused. Had this small candle been the source of the overbearing aroma of warm sugar cookies baking? Is this what had drove the men mad and caused them to leave the protection of Shanton Hill? Upon closer inspection, it was the source. It was a scented candle, but more importantly, it was a scented candle from the Yankee Candle Company. It was an ambush. Union soldiers hiding nearby attacked, and every last Confederate soldier who came down Shanton Hill was killed at the foot of that hill. It was the death of many Confederate troops that night, but more importantly, it was the birth of the Yankee Candle Company. Even today, Southerners still complain about being deceived by those blasted candles. So the next time you think you smell a fresh baked pie or the inviting aroma of freshly baked cookies, remember, it might just be that the missus just made a number 2. And more importantly, remember the Battle of Shanton Hill.